What's up, everybody? My name is Zach Pasquarello. Today is June 30th. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about real estate private money lending. I started a bookkeeping business 5 years ago, started a trucking company 4 years ago. Trucking company failed. Bookkeeping business, really good. Started teaching people how to start a bookkeeping business on YouTube. And then I started private money lending 2.5 years ago. I started my investment fund, Zip Capital, in 2025. And now, if you see on the board behind me, I've got $358,000 raised in Zip Capital. My goal is to raise $5 million. And in this video, I'm going to break down some risky mistakes that you might make as a real estate private money lender. My goal is to try to teach you how to do real estate private money lending once your bookkeeping business, your tax prep business, or any other business or your corporate job, once that takes off and once you start saving some money, I'm going to teach you how to do private money lending. And if you want to do it yourself, awesome. I'm going to give you a ton of information, a ton of resources. If you don't want to do it yourself, you could invest into Zip Capital and earn 8% up to 12% fixed returns. In this video, I'm going to talk about first lien versus second lien, out of state, unknown markets, charging too little as a private money lender, having a good title company, good insurance agent, sticking to your underwriting criteria, tracking your rehab draws, ACH origination for monthly interest payments, and finally, loan terms, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years. What are good loan terms? So that's kind of a sneak peek. Before we get too far into that, I'm just going to give you an update. First, I go live every day, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel, Monday through Friday. Honestly, I'm just sharing my journey. I'm not really running like a full-fledged course or daily show where I teach you how to do real estate private money lending. Like I do talk a lot about real estate private money lending and bookkeeping and Zip Capital and everything else in between. But this is also more so just kind of like a daily talk show, I guess. This is just kind of me sharing my journey, documenting my processes, documenting my journey, documenting my growth. I think it'll be really cool to share this with you over the next 6 months, every single day, give you an update on what's going on. So I'll just get started this weekend. First, let me just say, my son got a stomach bug this weekend. And so I think he passed it on to me. Wasn't feeling great this morning. I'm on coffee number 2, so I'm starting to feel a little bit better, getting some caffeine running through my blood. Don't feel great. So hopefully I'm okay. Q2 is almost over. One more day. July 1st is tomorrow. That's insane. I run a bookkeeping business. I have 80 bookkeeping clients. And so this week is going to be crazy. I'm going to be really busy this week with the holiday, July 4th on Friday. That throws a wrench in the month end close. I'm probably going to have to work on Friday, just being honest. And then I'm going to have to continue closing out my clients' books probably over the weekend into next week. So as a bookkeeper, I'm super busy the first week of every month. Memorial Day is a great holiday. That's at the end of the month. Love Memorial Day. July 4th, on the other hand, New Year's, not the best. Beginning of the month, not a good time for me. Super, super busy. This weekend, I was watching a finance documentary. I've been getting really into finance documentaries because I'm a nerd and I love math and I love finance and I love business. And I've been watching some finance documentaries on YouTube, specifically about like hedge fund managers, bank CEOs, real estate investors. And I just watched one about Sam Zell. He's a billionaire real estate developer. I think he got started in the 70s or 80s and grew his empire into the 90s. In the early 2000s, he started out managing student housing at universities. And here's a quote that I heard in this documentary from Sam Zell. If you haven't heard about him or you don't know much about him, definitely recommend look him up on YouTube, do some research. I think he has a book. He definitely has a book. Really successful real estate developer. Listen to this quote. This hit me so hard. He said about managing student housing, this was his first job. He was in college or maybe before college or right after college, but this was like his first gig with real estate, I think. He said, "We didn't know how to manage or rent apartments. We had no clue what it entailed. It just never occurred to me that I couldn't do it." It never occurred to him that he couldn't do it. Or another way of saying that, he always knew he could do it no matter what. I feel like that level of confidence and conviction is what separates successful entrepreneurs from everybody else. You need to have a delusional level of self-confidence and self-conviction to start something new. Following corporate America, going to college, getting a degree, getting a job at a consulting firm or accounting firm or engineering firm or law firm, like following that corporate ladder, nothing wrong with that. But deviating from that corporate ladder, deviating from that traditional track takes a lot of courage. And it takes a lot of confidence to be able to go out and do something on your own. And I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs who watch my channel. I myself am a 5-year entrepreneur, probably going to be spending the next 30 years as an entrepreneur. And it was really hard, but I was always confident that I knew that I could at least figure it out. You're going to make mistakes. That's what getting experience is all about. You're going to make mistakes, but as long as you learn from your mistakes and try to get better, be honest, have integrity, you can pretty much figure out almost anything. So that quote from Sam Zell, it just never occurred to me that I couldn't do it. I love that quote. It really resonated with me. I felt the same way. Whenever I was starting a bookkeeping business, failure wasn't an option. I never thought like, man, I don't think I can do this. However, at the same time, every single day I was afraid that my bookkeeping business was going to fail. So on one hand, I was confident. I knew I could do it. But on the other hand, I worked so hard because I also knew that there was a chance, not because of my own necessarily shortcomings, but just as a business owner, as a person in general, I knew there was a chance that it wasn't going to work just because of whatever could have happened. Maybe I didn't have a good product, or maybe the timing was bad. Like imagine if you tried to start a newspaper company in the 90s, like just maybe great idea, maybe great operator, but just not great timing with the internet. And so maybe now is not a great time with artificial intelligence and AI and chat GPT and all things like that. I don't know. But it just never occurred to me that I couldn't do it. If I worked hard, if I dedicated 50 hours a week, it never occurred to me that I couldn't do it. So let's talk about patience. And then I promise we'll get into these 5 risky mistakes about real estate private money lending. I've been thinking a lot about patience because that is my biggest struggle right now. Starting a business. I'm starting Zip Capital. I started in January, been raising money, trying to raise $5 million. Patience has been probably the hardest thing that I've had to deal with over the past 3 months because I want to raise $5 million, but it's going to take time. If you're trying to start a bookkeeping business or if you're trying to start any business, it's going to take time. And by the way, if you have any comments or questions, or if you want to say anything, say something in the chat. Towards the end of the video, I'm going to go back and read through the chat. I'm going to try to get to everybody's comments and questions and concerns. So let me know what you're thinking in the chat. Let me know if you disagree with something I'm saying, if you agree with something I'm saying, or if you got a question. I'd love to hear from you. I'm making these videos for you. I'm making them for me because I enjoy doing this. This is kind of like a way that I can journal and the way that I can reflect on my day and my week and my month and my journey. So I'm definitely making them for me, but I'm also making them for you because I think it's interesting. I think other people like to see what other small time entrepreneurs are doing. I'm just a small time entrepreneur. I'm not a billionaire. I don't have a $50 million company. I didn't sell my company for $100 million. Those documentaries, those YouTube videos are awesome. I love watching them, but they're kind of out of touch with my reality. So my hope is that I can share my journey and you can relate to me because I'm just like you. I'm a regular guy. I got 4 kids, got one on the way, 4 kids, one on the way. I coach my son's football team. I live in a neighborhood, a regular house. My kids go to public school. I go to the YMCA to work out. We shop at Walmart and Aldi where we get our groceries. I'm just a regular dude. I'm just like you. So I'm just documenting my journey. Hopefully somebody finds it interesting. Patience. Let's talk about that real quick. Starting a bookkeeping business, I know how it feels. Starting any business, I know how it feels. Patience is the hardest thing. It's like, I just want to get clients. I just want to get investors. I just want to be able to quit my job. Like, why isn't this working? But you got to figure out what to do in the meantime. And for me, that has been marketing and sales. While you're trying to get bookkeeping clients, while you're trying to get investors, I have become obsessed with marketing and sales. And that is a great thing to figure out what to do in the meantime. because it's going to take you time to build your business, build your brand, build your reputation, build your online presence, build your social media marketing, start networking. All of that stuff takes time, which is great because if you're just getting started, you probably have a lot of time. Right now, Zip Capital isn't that big. I'm managing about $2 million. I've got 400,000 in Zip Capital, and I've got about 1 million, 1.5 million of my own money slash Harrisburg bookkeeping money invested into private money loans. So I'm close to $2 million managing real estate loans. After today, so I'm side note, tangent. I just did a loan today, and it's a $105,000 loan in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. As of today, I have 1.5 million lent out, and then I'm doing a $200,000 loan on Wednesday. So as of Wednesday, I will have 1.7 million lent out. But you got to be patient. I have to be patient, and so in order to be patient, I'm you need to actively be patient. You can't just sit back and say, I'm being patient. I'm going to wait to get clients. I'm going to wait to get investors. You have to actively be patient. You have to be doing things in the meantime. And so there's really only two things that you can do in the meantime. You can optimize your product or you can advertise your product. That's kind of the only two things that you can do. You can refine your craft, whether that's bookkeeping or lending or investing or whatever. Maybe you sell physical products. You can learn, research, develop. You can refine your service or your product. You can optimize your service or your product, develop SOPs, develop processes, strategies for actually customer service, delivering your product, operating your business, or you can market and sell your business. You can go to networking events. You can create social media marketing content. You can go live every day on YouTube at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, talking about Zip Capital, trying to raise $5 million. You can do DMs. I just got LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Let me tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I feel like such a noob. I've been an entrepreneur for 5 years. I never used LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I used it for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I'm obsessed with it. I am sending DMs to everybody who I'm connected with on LinkedIn, and I'm tracking it. I'm tracking responses. I'm putting it in my CRM. I'm setting up coffee meetings. I'm setting up phone calls with interested investors. I think that LinkedIn Sales Navigator might be the ticket for me to raise $5 million in 2025. If you've never used it, definitely recommend checking it out. It's really powerful. I feel like an idiot for not using it in the past 5 years, but hey, the best day to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The best day to start using LinkedIn Sales Navigator was 5 years ago. The second best day to plant a tree is today. The second best day to start using LinkedIn Sales Navigator is today. So at least I'm optimizing the second best opportunity. So patience, figure out what to do in the meantime. And when it comes to creating content, when it comes to social media marketing, documenting my journey is what I've always fallen back on. It's hard to come up with ideas. Marketing content is hard. Coming up with ideas to talk about right now in this video can be challenging. I've always fallen back on documenting the journey. You can teach people things. Like I'm trying to teach you how to do private money lending. That's cool. You can teach people how to start a bookkeeping business. You can teach entrepreneurs how to do their own bookkeeping so that you're indirectly selling to them like, hey, I'll teach you how to do your own bookkeeping with the hope of you not being able to do it and just hiring me anyway. That's education is a great social media marketing content strategy, but also just documenting your journey, I think is also really simple and it also crushes. Go to my Facebook. All of my social media channels are linked in the description of this video. Go to my Facebook and check out yesterday's post on Sunday, June 29th. 300 likes. That's insane. It was a picture of my son sleeping on the floor in my office. It was a spontaneous post. It happened in real time. I thought that's kind of cool. Like, let me take a picture of this. And then I just sat on my couch and spent 5 minutes writing up a post. And then I posted it and it crushed. Just document your journey. Talk about what's really going on in your life because that's super relatable. Don't try too hard to come up with content. Just think about like, what am I doing today? What did I do yesterday? How can that apply to other people? How can that apply to starting a business or growing a business or bookkeeping or lending or investing in Zip Capital. Just document your journey. It's a really easy way to come up with content, super original. There's only one Zach Pasquarello living in Mechanicsburg. So there's only one of me. It's super authentic, genuine, honest, unique content. Okay, that's enough blabbering. I hope that was interesting. If you like that, let me know. Hopefully that was kind of interesting. But anyway, let's get to the real stuff here. 5 risky mistakes. Avoid these 5 risky mistakes of real estate private money lending. Let's start with second lien versus first lien. A lien is a mortgage. So whenever you do a promissory note or a private money lending, you secure your loan with a mortgage. So that way it would be impossible for the borrower to sell the house without paying you back first. That's the security of private money lending. And so if you do a second lien, that means somebody else has a first lien on that property. That means if they have to sell the property, the first lien gets paid back first. And if they can't pay off the second lien, then you have to take them to court and try to get your money back. So second lien is a lot riskier than first lien. You can do second lien loans. You can do them, but they're much riskier. And the thing is you don't have to. If you do want to do them, just charge a premium for sure. Higher origination fee, higher interest rate, charge a premium, and set your terms shorter, maybe 3 months for a second lien. Figure out, why do you need this loan? They better have a very clear game plan for paying you back. So figure out why they need it, understand the risk, underwrite the borrower. But honestly, you don't have to do them. In Zip Capital, I don't do second position loans. I only do first position because there's so many borrowers out there who need first position. And so I just save my money and just wait until a good first position loan comes up. And they are. Like, that's why I started Zip Capital. I have more deals than I can fund, more demand than I have supply. So I'm turning down high quality first position loans. So there's no reason for me to take on a second position lien. As with first position, I'm making 18 to 22% on my loans, which is good enough for me. I'm happy with that. What's that? Yeah, I'm happy with 18 to 22%. I'm charging 12%, 3% origination, underwriting fee, processing fee, 6-month terms. So I'm flipping those twice a year. Out of state, unknown markets. I only lend in Pennsylvania. That's not entirely true. I've done one loan. I've done one loan, 2 loans with one borrower. Ohio. So very close to where I live in Pennsylvania, Ohio. And I did this a year ago. And the only reason I did it was because this guy had $600,000 adjusted gross income on his tax return, his W-2 job, $600,000 over the past 2 years, like each year, $600K. So I underwrote the borrower. I looked at my risk mitigation strategy and I figured this was an okay loan to do. $600,000 income. This guy, that doesn't mean he knows how to be a real estate investor. You could have a $5 million of profit. Doesn't mean you know how to be a real estate investor, but he has strong cash flow through his W-2 job. So if things go bad, it was a $76,000 loan in Toledo, Ohio. So if things went bad, then he could pay me back just with his W-2 income alone. So that's the only loans that I've done out of Pennsylvania. But ever since I did those, I've shifted. I'm only doing Pennsylvania loans. And also unknown markets like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, New York City, Chicago. Typically big cities have more rules and regulations. So I don't lend in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. I only lend in Pennsylvania and I stay away from big cities. There are some lenders who specialize in the big cities and they know the market. They know the permits and the regulations and the licenses requirements. Also, in cities, you could go one block and you could go from a decent block, a decent street, and you can go one block over and all of a sudden you are in a very bad area. So if you don't intimately know the market where you're lending, there's a lot of risk. You could easily find yourself in a bad situation. Charging too little as a private money lender. When I got started, I was doing 12%, 2 points. That's it. No origination fee, no processing fee, no underwriting fee. I did 12% and 2 points. and then I ran out of money. So it's supply and demand. It's simple economics, supply and demand. If you have $1 million and there are 10 people asking you for $200,000, so you have a million and people are asking you for 2 million, you don't have enough supply to meet demand. So increase your prices. Get to a point where your supply and demand curve stabilizes or levels out. Like I want it, and it's fragile. Like you got to pay close attention because you don't want to be sitting on too much capital for too long, because if it's sitting idle in your bank account, you're not earning interest. So you don't want your rates so high that you can't move your capital, but you also don't want your rates so low that you move your capital too quickly. Like if you advertise this on social media and 20 people hit you up and 20 people want a loan from you in the first 2 hours, it's just like putting something on Facebook Marketplace. Let's use simpler terms. You put up a sofa on Facebook Marketplace for $20 and 100 people message you on Facebook Marketplace. Yikes, I probably priced this a little bit too low. So let me remove the listing and let me relist this for maybe $400. And let's see, okay, 3 or 4 people reached out. That's more reasonable. I would always rather list something on Facebook Marketplace or let people know my rates too high, and then people say no thanks, not interested. Ask them why. Like, hey, why not? Like, oh, like that's way too high. I'm used to paying blah blah blah. Like, okay, good feedback. A couple other people say that. Okay, good feedback. Maybe my rates are too high. I would rather wait 2 weeks and go through that than have 50 people start pounding on my door asking me for money because my rates are too low. So charging too little is definitely a risky mistake that you want to avoid. Okay, title company and insurance agent. Title company and insurance agent. You got to partner with these guys. I don't know anything about title or insurance, and I don't want to. So I partnered with a property insurance, a local insurance agent. And I said, "Hey, every investor who comes to me looking for insurance, I'll refer them to you. In return, can you review every certificate of insurance for my loans, for my properties that I'm lending on? Can you make sure they all look good?" He said, "Yeah, sure." It takes him 5 seconds to review my certificates of insurance. And he lets me know, like, yep, this looks good. Or like, hey, no, I don't see a vacancy policy. Or like this is in a flood zone. Maybe check out this flood insurance. And he lets me know. It's a great symbiotic relationship. Title company. So I said, hey, first, real estate attorney slash title company. So there's a real estate attorney who I partner with. He also has a title company. So I work with them both at the same time. So the title company slash real estate attorney drafts my documents, and they also review my title insurance for $200. And I just pass that on to the borrower. In return, any borrower who needs a title agent, I refer them over to my title company. And then if we do a loan with them, they don't charge me the $200 document prep fee. So if my borrower goes through my title agent, they facilitate the whole transaction. It's so easy for me. They do all the communicating. I basically just introduce buyer to title, and then they just get everything done. They tell me when closing is, and I wire the money. Super simple. Find a good insurance agent, find a good title company, and partner with them. Okay. We have like 5 minutes left in today's episode. So let me just get to the questions real quick. Let me see if anybody has said anything. Okay. And if you have any comments or questions, now's a good time. Let me know in the chat. Okay. Let's see. Quick bookkeeping question, because I'm curious. How many of your clients are cash basis versus accrual basis? Probably 80% of my clients are cash basis. What NFL and college teams do you go for? Eagles and Penn State. I'm in Central PA. So we are actually, fun fact, we are closer to Baltimore than we are to Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. So we are actually the closest to Baltimore, but I live in Pennsylvania. I can't root for the Ravens. So I root for the Eagles and Penn State. Let's see. Chiefs fan here. I'm from Kansas City, so I swear if he says Eagles, sorry, Steele. Hopefully I didn't just lose you as a subscriber. That Super Bowl, I honestly felt bad for the Chiefs during that Super Bowl, but you guys have been good for a long time, so don't get too upset. Alec, same here. I'm a big Cowboys fan. All right, looks like I might have just lost 2 of my best YouTube subscribers, Steele and Alec. I hope we can move past this little NFL riff. Let's see. Johnny, in your real estate investing bookkeeping videos, you mentioned needing a scalable, client-friendly system to track and assign transactions to specific properties. What system do you use or recommend? Okay, class tracking for real estate investors is really important because as they flip properties or hold long-term rentals, they need to understand the profitability for each property. So for this class tracking, they I categorize there's two different ways to do it. You can leave the transactions in the bank feed and let the person tell you before you categorize the transactions. This requires a more organized and responsive client. So if they respond to your email in 24 to 48 hours, do it this way. Leave the transactions in the bank feed. Ask them like, hey, here's a list of 10 transactions. Who did you like? I see who you paid. I know the category, but what property does it go to? I see this as an insurance payment. What property? Utility payment. What property? Contractor payment. What property does it go to? If they're responsive, do it that way. If they're not responsive, if it takes them more than 24 or 48 hours to respond to an email, record the transactions. Insurance company, insurance payment, no class, no property. Contractor labor, no property. Real estate tax payment, no interest paid, no property, and then run a report. Go to profit and loss, look at the transactions, and then run a report, class not specified, and then send that report to your client and say, hey, here's a list of transactions that need to be class tracked. Please let me know which property goes to which transaction. And the only way I do this is they are forced to. They have to do this. No other way around this. Like, this is my process. If the client doesn't do this process, this might be extreme, but I'm willing to lose them as a client because it's so hard if you don't do it this way. So I send them the spreadsheet and they have to fill out the spreadsheet. It's the only way I do this. And some pushback I get. Some owners who don't have support, some owners say, I don't have time for this. Like, what do your other clients do? How do your other clients do this? Simple response. My other clients usually have their office manager do this for them. My other clients usually have their virtual assistant do this for them. I am not your office manager. I'm not your virtual assistant. I'm not going to look through your Slack channel, your Slack chat. I'm not going to look through your other miscellaneous spreadsheets that you have and try to fill this out for you. That's the role of an office manager or a virtual assistant. So if you're struggling to keep up with this, that in the nicest way possible, if the business owner is struggling to keep up with, and honestly, this might not be the best way to do it. I might be too harsh on this, but as I've scaled my bookkeeping business, this is just what's worked really well for me. So if you want to offer that more detailed level of service and like kind of play that office manager role for your client, you can if you really want to, but just be careful because as soon as you start to cross that line, as soon as you start to do more assistant office manager type services, then scope creep becomes real. And then just be careful because once you do that thing, then what next? What else are they going to ask you to do? So that's why very firm, nope, this is how I do it. This is how we do it. This is my company policy. I'm not going to do it another way. Because of scope creep, because of office manager versus bookkeeper, very two different roles. I'm very passionate about that. Sorry, I just went off on a tangent. Okay, let's see. I can't wait to make enough money from bookkeeping to invest. And Johnny, I really appreciate that. Would you be more willing to be second lien holder on a long-term / frequent borrower? Yes, I would. If I have a history of lending to you, if you have paid back multiple loans, and if you just need some rehab money to bridge a project, I would be more willing to do that. But for a first-time borrower, absolutely not. And I'm just not doing second position loans right now. It's just not worth it because I have so many borrowers looking for first position loans. Have you had much success getting new bookkeeping clients through cold calling? Johnny, no, I don't do any cold calling. The only cold outreach that I do is DMs on LinkedIn and Facebook. And because they're cold DMs, but they're with connections. They're with Facebook friends. So I don't send DMs to people who are not my friend or not connected to me. So I will send you a friend request. I'll send you a LinkedIn connection, and then I'll wait 30 days, and then I'll send you a DM because I want you to see my content. I want you to know I'm a real person. I want you to know who I am, and I want my marketing to work. So I do my marketing, I build trust, build relationships with these people, and then I send them a DM on social media. I don't do any cold outreach. I don't think it's a good use of your time. Instead of doing cold outreach, I would much rather create marketing content. Like instead of spending an hour doing cold outreach, spend an hour doing marketing content, spend time sending friend requests, sending LinkedIn connections, and then do like a lukewarm outreach on LinkedIn or Facebook. Okay, I think that's it. If there's any other questions, let me know in the chat. I'll check back one last time. But if not, that's it for today. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you all so much for your support. Truthfully, I'm doing this for you. I'm making these videos for you because I love documenting my journey. I love sharing my story. I hope other people can get some motivation and inspiration from what I do. Tune in every day, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out my website. It's linked below, Zip Capital. And yeah, Zip Capital. It's linked below in the description. Register on my website if you have $25,000 or more and you want to invest into Zip Capital. What made you decide to get your master's? Josh, I did not get my master's degree, but I started taking, so I got my bachelor's degree in college in 2015 and then had various jobs. And then I went back to school. I studied intro to accounting. And then I studied 5 other undergraduate accounting classes. And then I started taking master's level classes. I took in total 10 accounting classes at Penn State, 6 undergraduate, 4 master's level classes. I was planning on becoming a CPA, but then I was making $30,000 a month in my bookkeeping business when I decided to stop going back to college because I realized that you can make a ton of money doing bookkeeping. So I was trying to figure out, why do I want to become a CPA? Like truthfully, why do I want to become a CPA? Is it because I want to do taxes? Is it because I want to impress my friends and family? Is it because I want those 3 letters after my name? Is it because I want to make more money? Is it because I want to start a different business? Like truthfully, why did I want to become a CPA? I think the only reason that you should become a CPA, not the only reason, but a good reason to become a CPA is because you want to be able to do the work of a CPA. Taxes, tax consulting, representing your clients to the IRS. If you want to do those things, yes, become a CPA. If you just want to make more money as an entrepreneur, if you're going to be a W-2 employee, sure, becoming a CPA will probably help you get promoted at your job. But as an entrepreneur, if you want to make more money, you do not need to be a CPA. You do not need to do taxes. You can simply grow your bookkeeping business, and I promise you, you can make a ton of money. You can make more money than you know what to do with just by starting a bookkeeping business. So that's why I stopped going to college. That's why I did not get my CPA or my master's degree, because I wanted to be a full-time entrepreneur. I did not want to be a CPA or a tax preparer. All right, one more question. I'm a little insecure about being African. I don't think the companies would invest in me, even though I have an accounting degree. 100% true. So I see that you're insecure. There are all different types of entrepreneurs. There are men, there are women, there are Europeans, there are Africans, there are Asians, there are South American, there are Americans. There are all different types of entrepreneurs, all different types of bookkeepers. There are also all different types of business owners in America. There are tons of African business owners in America. So you could definitely get all different types of clients, but I'm sure that you could maybe even have a niche, maybe find some African communities that have businesses, and I'm sure they would love to work with you. So don't be afraid. Don't feel insecure. America is a melting pot. There are so many different nationalities and ethnicities. There's a ton of different people out there. So give it a try. Just be yourself. Be honest, have integrity, be authentic. Don't try to pretend to be somebody you're not. I'm not going to try to pretend to be a 60-year-old lady. I'm a 31-year-old dude from Pennsylvania with an Italian last name. That's who I am. So for you, just be who you are. Be true to yourself, have integrity. I promise you, there are business owners in America who want to work with you. You just have to find them. You have to create marketing content. You have to send DMs to target your ideal client. So figure out who that might be true to yourself, be authentic. It's going to work out. Work hard, never give up. Doesn't matter where you're from, how old you are, how smart you are, none of that matters. If you work hard and never give up, you can pretty much do anything. So I appreciate you all watching. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope these videos are helpful, inspirational, educational, motivational, slightly entertaining. I appreciate you all. See you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.